So how's everyone doing this evening? How was how has your week been, Miss Catherine?
Week was whoever's the week. The week was in the week. What? The
And
weekend kind of erased what the week was, yes, because the
well, you went
weekend was
cycling over the weekend?
no, the weekend was kind of packed, but I did enjoy watching the pictures of the people cycling. Yes, I was there in spirit, not knowing how to ride a bike.
Listen, cycling, it was. You're going and you're excited until you got there. Start a pedal on an incline and you realize just now, wait. Because the years before you're doing it for fun, but those years were like 20 years ago. So now you're doing it and you're trying to breathe. But it was fun all in all.
The
Just
only thing I was saying to myself when I was looking at it, I was saying, you see how Annalisa exercises coming in good, strength training in the legs and things like that.
hmm
That's why you're not there, Catherine, because you didn't do the exercises.
no,
Catherine
But
is
I had like
very
about three things to attend at that same time. So it was run from here to run from there to run from there. Because I wanted to get down to the center to help prepare the site for the camp. So it was run from here, run from there, run from there. So that was my weekend.
understood.
And how was your weekend, Adana? Did you apply any of the tools that you
But I
learned?
was just explaining to Catherine that I am currently pausing and then proceed. Just pause, take a few deep breaths, remember where you are, stay in the present, and then continue with whatever you need to do.
I think that's the way I am too. Like with I think you get to the point now where, at least for me, you hear the tools like doing the questions, the genius work. It's kind of just, the reiteration. So it's
hmm
starting to get embedded in you.
Yes,
So
yes.
now when you find yourself in certain situation, yeah, you just like, yeah, this is almost like this isn't real, and it's like, okay, kind divert, slow down,
Mm-hmm.
kind of catch yourself.
Catch yourself before you
And
continue.
yeah, and then always kind of come back to the present, because I think for me now it's like when you look at situation and you come back to the present, like where you are physically, where you are right here right now, what's happening, what's going on, what's
Yeah.
bad?
Yes,
Nothing. So
yes.
why are we putting so much emphasis in tomorrow, next week, and right now? Because tomorrow, next week is not promised. Right now you're okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's kind of like where I am with really understanding being present and being mindful. The consistency, especially with the exercise, we're not there yet. We're still working on it.
Don't worry. If I could be consistent, anybody could be consistent when it comes to exercise.
Mhm.
I am telling you, if I could be consistent, anybody could be consistent when it comes to exercise because it has been a struggle for a really long time. And the motivation is really what the issue is. But now, because of the class, you realize, okay, all right, get it done.
But I would say something when you read the topic for the genius goal last question last week, you don't focus on motivation. It's the consistency.
Yeah.
Motivation is just kind of like an illusion. So if you wait on motivation, you would never move forward because you're always saying, when I get motivated, I will do this. When I get motivated, I will do that.
Yes.
And, and it's pushing through, which is what I don't do for the exercise. I'm being very honest. Pushing through the tough times to overcome that. So because motivation is not. the
But
key.
you see, you have to really motivate yourself because it have the days when you really don't want to do it at all. And that is where you really have to know within you that, listen, I want this thing. I want to achieve this. Because for me, before exercise, I used to feel very, very, very lethargic, like you have no energy. And then now with doing it and being consistent, you're realizing that, okay, I could go a little more, I could do a little bit more of this. And things, for some reason, your mind also becomes a lot clearer. You know, sometimes you might be feeling foggy and overwhelmed, and sometimes your mind just feels muddled and messy and all over the place. Exercise also helps with that. And that is why you really have to pay attention to all aspects of your being. You have to pay attention because once one is missing, something is missing, and you have to pay attention to that aspect. Because
So
remember,
I
there
will.
are
Oh,
three
sorry.
aspects. A lot of times you just pay attention to your mind. I am feeling tired, I'm feeling this, I'm feeling that. But also, you really have to pay attention what you're doing for your body because a lot of times the only thing that we do for our body is run it down. You don't nourish it properly. You don't pay attention to what's going on with it. You don't pay attention to what your body telling you. You're not paying attention at all. The only thing you do is run it down, and when the only time you pay attention is when you get sick and you have to go to the doctor. Now you pause everything else to pay attention on your body. Whereas you could make it part of your daily routine, factoring in what your body also requires, because this is also very important. And the next part that we forget, we don't even know that this exists at all, is of course your soul. So you really have to factor in time for all three aspects of your being and not just consistently paying attention to one, because the all three of them work together hand in hand. Because
So I.
once
Oh,
one is out of balance, something is going on. You would usually tell from whatever you're experiencing in your life. You could determine, okay, I need to pay more attention on this aspect, or I need to pay more attention on this aspect.
so I wanted, if I wait, where I was talking about, we put a lot of, like you're saying, motivation, and I said it was consistency from the mode and the genius. So question, it was discipline.
Mm-hmm.
Discipline is the key. So it says a productive mind embraces discipline over motivation and chooses progress over being perfect.
Yes.
Always be there. It was always be there with purpose, and the result will surely follow. So it's
Mhm.
about being disciplined, and I guess being consistently disciplined.
Yes. And even when you look at the word discipline, is the practice of training. Um, okay, just now. That is really just now. Okay, it is really the practice of training and the ability to be persistent in difficult tasks. That is really what it is. Because again, and I'm not sure because, of course, today's post went out a little bit late. And when you read today's post, I'm not sure if anyone was able to do so. Today's post says, life unfolds with both joy and sorrow as a natural order. To feel sorrow is human, but to dwell in it is a decision. In that decision lies our strength, the power of the mind to observe, endure, and rise, not by running away from pain, but by mastering the self through it. And that is where discipline would come, because a lot of times when we are faced with challenges, difficulty, we tend to run, not realizing that joy and sorrow that you're experiencing is a natural order. It is part of life. But for some reason, we always want to focus on whatever we think is positive. You want the experience to be a positive one, not realizing that life is really about duality. And normally, in the difficult situations is where you learn the most. In the difficulty, that is usually where the lesson lies. And sometimes running away from the pain and running away from all of the challenges and the difficulty, it really not helping you to evolve and grow, because in that it is you choosing, because just as the post says, to feel sorrow is human, but to dwell in it is a decision. You are choosing to stay there, you are choosing to run. And once you make that choice to stay there, that is where you would find a lot of the, some of the clinical things that we discuss a lot of times happening. So you would find the depression and the anxiety and the stress, not realizing that you're just going through the natural order of life, just as leaves, just as nature, the leaves shed. Everything prunes. It is the natural order. But for some reason, we are always trying to run away from it. Always, always, always trying to run away. I don't want to feel pain. I don't want to face this challenge. I don't want to overcome this challenge. I want to remain as I am. But then remaining as you are, how has it been working out for you? When you choose to remain as you are, how is it working out for you? Because remember, within the pain, within the challenge, within the difficulty, there is a lesson, there is purpose. But you don't know that. Of course, when you're in the hot seat, you're not paying attention to it. But in those moments, again, as Lisa was talking about, well, as we were also discussing in terms of the importance of discipline, that is where you really have to remember in those moments what the overall purpose of whatever you're experiencing is. You have to be disciplined enough to rise above and know that this is happening. For some reason, I may not understand it right now. And what you're trying to run away from, you have to go through it. Because we don't like to go through nothing. You want the road to constantly be paved. You want everything to be pristine and perfect, because we are always looking for perfection, of course. But you really have to, in the moment, you really, really have to rise above and think about the big picture. While you may not like it, you don't appreciate it, you wish it wasn't happening, it is what it is. You are faced with it. Okay. Then you start to ask questions. How can I move forward? What am I supposed to understand from this? What am I missing? You know? Instead of just trying to run, no, 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 I'm not feeling to deal with this right now. And then 3 months from now, as I said last week, went for his cousins, his neighbors, his friends, and it came back even stronger, whatever the situation, the experience, the challenges. Because once you defer it, it is coming back. Whether you like it or you don't like it. And it also goes hand in hand with tonight's topic of overcome the fear of your potential. And when you look at the topic, have you all ever asked yourself, what are you fearful of? As it comes, as it relates to your potential, what are you fearful of?
I think fear generally is just of the unknown. Because once you step into something, a new job, a new whatever, and you become comfortable in it, you're like, oh, that's it. But the first step is always the hardest step, because it's something that you don't know. You don't know what to expect. But in terms of talking about, you know, stepping out, we have to love ourselves more than we love anything else. Because a lot of times you don't realize, like, when you sit in whatever that difficult time is, you're really not showing yourself love. Because we all feel like there are things we could work on within ourselves. And I feel like, because even like the question last week for the genius goal, like, what you celebrating, and it's like the little things
Mm-hmm.
you celebrate, and in that celebration is a true feeling of loving yourself, and like, wow, yes, this is all about me. It's about, so when you sit in the things that you know is not working for you,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't step out, I feel like you really just denying yourself, and you're not showing yourself love.
Yeah.
And we all want to evolve. We all want to be a better version of ourselves. We all want to make this life, now that we're here and understanding the whole concept of where we came from, where we're going, and it's always about growth. Do you really want to sit and you know, just be the person that you are right now, or you want to be, whenever your time come, be at the best place that you could have been with the time that you were given,
Mm-hmm.
and in doing so, not having any regrets. I didn't do this, I should have, I could have, you know what I mean? So I think just pushing through is a way to just celebrate you and celebrate the love that you have for yourself.
Because even in celebration, you would recognize that also a lot of people, they think that it is something that is not important and they are not worthy of it. And if they have to attend something to celebrate someone else, they would be there, they would be first. But when you think of yourself, a lot of times you think of yourself in such a lowly kind of position, and you don't place the importance of celebration as it relates to you, when really it is part of everything. Because, of course, as we were discussing last week, as it relates also to gratitude, with gratitude and celebration, remember, life reflects life. You will get more things to celebrate and more things to be grateful for. But again, if you are choosing to remain stuck and choosing to dwell in your current position, then you would realize that you have the same resolutions every year, you have the same goals every year. What do you truly want for yourself? And even when you look at it, you would recognize that a lot of times we have fear of stepping into our next level. And why is that? Some of us know what these steps are, but yet you're not making the steps. You know what these steps are. You're getting the whispers, you're getting the nudges, you're getting the thoughts, and you are choosing to ignore them to remain where you are. Yes, Catherine?
Going back to something you were saying earlier, Adana, about how you see yourself, the worthy part. When you look out into, because the soul knows, and it knows that it knows. And while it is triggering and trying to nudge you and get you there, you'll be seeing the dreams. But that whole question of, am I capable? Am I worthy? This is beyond me. And it starts with the not paying attention to the small steps that it will take to get you there. You're looking at just the final picture. So I want to be a millionaire in the next 22 months. Then there's no sighting as to, all right, what does it take to get on that road. How do I get on that road? It just fixated on this big thing. And so the fear then of, is this for me? Is this really for me? Is this, can I really achieve this? Isn't it safer to stay? And I don't think you consciously tell yourself, isn't it safer to stay here? I don't think it's a conscious thing where you sit and say, no, me, I better just stay here. You have the dream and you have it as large, but because you spend more time looking at the dream than the I, no time or little time spent on, okay, what do I need to do to get here, to go forward? What is the next step? Not the whole step, not the whole, all 65 steps. Just what is the next step? And because of that, then you get bogged down in the full flood of the fear.
Okay,
Then you said
I have a
doing nothing.
question. As you were
Hmm.
talking about not knowing the next step, but sometimes we know the next step and we're still not taking it. Why do you think that is?
Because you see that step as just as big as the other goal, as the rest of the goal. We
Okay,
don't see it as a little step that will get us moving. We see it as part of the big thing that we just like a big mountain in front of us as opposed to one step, one step. So even if we see the steps, we add it to the mountain
okay,
instead of acting in the little step. Everything is just lumped together in the
right.
mountain.
Okay,
And so you sit now at the foot of the mountain, watching the
looking
mountain.
at the size. Okay,
Yes, not even plucking one blade of grass to get yourself moving forward.
okay, understood. I am not sure. Well, that makes sense. I could understand why, when you look at it, it looks as though everything is huge. I could never achieve this. This is too much. This is bigger than me. And all the self doubt starts to infiltrate at this point.
And
Yeah.
if you have people around you, if your environment also supports that lack of movement, then you're really certain now that it cannot be accomplished. And therefore, you see, because my mother might support me, why you want to do that? That's beyond you. Your father might tell you, your aunts and uncles, because they too are sitting in front of their mountain watching it, and everybody has watched it. So you have full support now to be quite fearful of moving forward. And if you have some good friends who tell you they know about two or three people who try something like that and didn't get through, then for sure you cement your bottom right where you're sitting down. That's it.
All right.
Game over.
Okay. And for how many persons here right now, they had the, you have a dream and you had a strong, strong urge to do a particular thing towards it? It's happened many times in your life. Many, 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 many times. You have a strong urge to do, like, make this phone call or go to this place or call your friend and ask a question. You have experienced that time after time throughout your lifetime, right?
Yeah,
Okay. And in doing so, you would realize that one step leading to another, right?
yes,
Yes. And then whatever the thing is that you were probably even fearful of, you realize, but wait, look at how simple this whole situation was. But had I chosen to not do or not follow your intuition, then you would have been stuck in the same place. Yes.
yes,
And it has happened many, 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 many times. So even when you're looking at the mountain, even if you ask the question, why looking at the mountain, what is the next step? When the thought comes, when the intuition comes, the urge comes, whatever it is, you really have to ignore whatever resistance that you heard from outside of you. Sometimes it's resistance within you for yourself because you're thinking that you cannot achieve this. But a lot of times within yourself, there is this strong urge to do this one thing towards your goal. Do this one thing towards your goal. You're getting the nudge. Do this one thing towards your goal. But if you continue to ignore it, then how would you even accomplish or achieve whatever it is you would like to achieve? Because even as we were discussing last week, where I saw this video on TikTok, and this woman was timing how long does it take. So the thing that you're procrastinating the most about, how long does it really take? If it is a phone call, how long does it take to just have a call somebody over the phone? How long does it really take? Or even if it is to start to exercise, even if you're walking inside your room for 10 minutes, sometimes you look at it as Catherine saying the mountain is looking huge. It is looking humongous. It is looking overwhelming. It is looking monstrous. Like I cannot even attempt. But if you cannot even attempt, then what are you even focused on as it relates to your life? What do you want for yourself? Saying that you're wanting something and actually putting the steps towards it is a totally, totally different thing. So even when the mountain looks huge, whatever the small nudge is, follow the nudge, follow the thought. Or even before you even do the two, sit with it a bit. And sometimes you sit with the thought, you sit with the nudge, and it becoming stronger. Or you need to go and talk to your boss about a particular topic that is uncomfortable and you don't want to do it. And something within you saying, go and do it, go and do it, go and you're saying, no, no, no. Because you're always referring to what happened in the past, what happened from another experience, what happened from what somebody else told you. But remember, all of those things are past experiences, and it is not the present moment. The present moment is new. Whereas those things happen in the past, yes, it happened. Again, you learn from it and you keep it moving. But even when you get the nudge, whatever it is, you really have to override everything else and go in that direction. Because only by facing the fear and moving through the pain, moving through the challenge is where your successes, is where your achievement of your goals lie. But if you choose to base your entire present life on your past experiences, how will you move forward? I cannot do this because I had a bad experience in 2015. I cannot do this because the last time I went there, I stubbed my toe. I cannot do this because the last time I went to the beach, I don't know. You slip and fall, so you write off all the beaches. You're not going to no more beaches. You don't want to see no more beaches. How can you base your current existence on one isolated experience from your past? How will that work for you? How is that working for you? Is it able to move you forward? It really, really, when you look at it, the things that no longer serve you, you really have to try your best to release them. I know that you hold on to it because, yes, this is what you experienced, but remember, that is what you experienced at that time. The lesson was learned. It is time to release it. You're weighing yourself down. Imagine that happened in 2015 and you are carrying that with you for 10 years. And whereas, yes, it's taking up space in your mind, but it will manifest on your body too because you're carrying it. You wonder why you have to go by the doctor because of depression, because of stress, because of anxiety. Some of us, diseases starting to manifest. You're starting to get permanent pain in certain parts of your body and you're wondering why. What are you holding on to that no longer serves you? Because at the end of the day, you holding on to this thing that no longer serves you only affecting your life. It is not affecting anyone else's life but yours. And in doing so, who missing the opportunities because you're holding on to this one isolated experience? You. Nobody else not missing opportunities because they are focused in the present moment and they are achieving what they are meant to achieve. The only person that you are affecting is yourself. You holding this person in mind for over 10 years is not affecting them. Life continues. The only person stuck is you. The only person missing opportunities is you. The only person who have dreams and not achieving them is you, because you choose, because it is a choice to remain there. You choose to hold on to that situation. You choose to hold on to that experience and not release it. Instead of you release it and allow what is to you to flow to you. And even some experiences that you see as negative could also be a reason why that you are resistant now and you have a lot of self-doubt and fear. But holding on to it really, really, really not. It is not moving you forward at all. So it's either you continue trying to pay homage to this one isolated incident, or you release it and really focus on yourself and focus on loving yourself and do the thing that you fear the most. Do the thing that is nudging you. Sometimes every morning you get up, it's on your mind. You know what the next step is. You are choosing not to do it. And the fact that you're getting the nudge, you're getting the strong intuition means that the path already paved on the other side, and you still standing up fearful as though you're in 2015, 2020, 2019. You're holding on to a fear that really no longer exists. You don't want to go back to this particular place because you had a bad experience with that one person. They don't work there anymore. They don't work there. They probably moved to Hawaii. They're on the beach having lunch with the friends. They're not even focused on you, and you focused on them. They're not focused on you. They're having dinner in Dubai in the sky. And you holding on to them 10 years later. How is this working out for you? And then again, every year you have the same resolutions, you have the same goals, and you're wondering why you can't achieve anything. I don't know why. But what are the steps? What are the steps you're putting in place for yourself? What do you want? Do you even know what you want? Because you know, a lot of times we focus on what everybody else doing, everybody else's intention, and what everybody else want. And if you ask yourself what you want, you don't even know what that is. You know where the next stop is on Beyonce's tour? You know what coming out in cinema next month? You know what Disney going to put out for Christmas? What do you want? You really have to sit with yourself and ask yourself these questions. And you really have to move. You really have to rise above the self-doubt and stuff. And sometimes it is the simplest, simplest, simplest things. It is the simplest nudge. It is the simplest intuition. Something, a thought keeps coming to you. Just follow what that is and start to trust yourself. Or sometimes you might have an idea, you have a thought, the first thing that you do, you go and talk to somebody else about it and they shut you down. Talk to you about it. Talk to yourself about it. You don't need to let anybody else know. And I know a lot of us, you have fear. You have a lot of fear as it relates to your potential. You're thinking, this is too big for me. Um, I am not this important. Why do you think that of yourself? This is too much for me. What is too much for you when there is abundance everywhere? What is too much for you? Stop thinking that you're not deserving of it or you're not worthy of it. Because if the thought is coming, it means that the path is already paved and you really need to make the step in that direction. Make the step. Make the step. Yes, you're fearful. Yes, yes, yes. The fear is there. But as you make one step, you would realize, okay, Then you make another step and you would realize, okay. And the path would start to reveal itself. And even as Catherine said, and I understand it, a lot of times you dump everything together, and then whatever you want to achieve it looking like a huge mountain, it looking like a lot. But in that moment, you really have to focus on the step in front of you. And yes, you would want to know all the steps to reach where you are, but life does not work that way. And you're expecting to see a paved road. Life does not work that way. You're expecting to see sprinkles and balloons, and life does not work that way. The challenges would always come because it's the natural flow of life, just like the ebb and the flow, not realizing that this is what it is. But sometimes when you're faced with the challenge, you think, woe is me, and then you just sit where you are and you stay there, and that is where the decay starts. First, the decay starts in your mind, and then the decay filters to your body. So you really have to examine where you currently are because your current position does not define who you are. Sit and really examine where you are and set your intention for where you would like to go. And always remember to celebrate along the way. You are worthy of celebration. Do you know that? A lot of times you're thinking, no, this is too small. Let me wait until I achieve the big goal in 10 years from now, then I will celebrate. Lisa, I'm seeing that you have your hand raised and it was raised for a really long time.
Yeah, sorry. No, it was just something that came to me, and I think you kind of spoke a little bit about it in terms of how honest are we with ourselves.
Yes.
That's one. And two, do you even know what you're afraid of? Because if you don't know what you're afraid of, how are you going to overcome it? If you have things, so I feel like something that is important to do is to learn how to sit with yourself
Hmm.
and take that time and give to yourself. Just give to yourself. Just give to yourself. And learn how to understand yourself and learn how to understand the feelings and emotions that flow through you. And in doing so, you become really honest and you could, try to pinpoint, because a lot of times you're like, childhood trauma, like Catherine says, childhood trauma, job stress, family stress. But what is it about all of these things? Because a lot of times there's a common denominator. A lot of time there's a root cause.
Hmm.
What is the root cause? Why are you fearful? Do you even acknowledge and know that you are fearful? Or are you just responding? Are you just responding to life's challenges and not sitting there and really understanding and delving into it from a deeper perspective? Why do I feel this way when, this common denominator in whatever situation or scenario arises? Why can't I move past this? Because you're not dealing with the root cause of whatever it is that is holding you back. And a lot of times we just don't take the time to really learn about ourselves, especially, like as females too, we are so caught up with kids, family life, job life, we lose ourselves and don't realize that we're losing ourselves. But we need to slow down and just take time. And like you're saying, that you get the messages from different people. Friends tell you this, family tell you this. You see a post that resonates that resonate with you on social media, and the things that hit you to your core. But are you just letting be? Oh, okay, I feel it, I understand it, and then it go by, and then something else hit you, and then you like you respond to that, and you keep going instead of just sitting down and really trying to get to the root cause of why you're not doing or why you procrastinating,
Hmm.
or why you're, whatever your excuse is to why you're not. Try to understand the root core of it.
Yes. You really, really have to try to understand the root cause of it, because sometimes it's something a child tell you when you was 3, in your 60s. And a lot of the things that others have told us about ourselves is not even real, and it's not even the truth, and yet you hold on to it for so many years. A lot of the things that were told to you about yourself, they are not even true and they are not even real. But yet, this is the blueprint that you're holding on to and you're living by. And it is not helping you, it is not serving you. And you see, especially for this week, spend some time identifying the things that not serving you currently in your life. Spend some time with it. Spend some time. And I know it is hard to let go and you have formed attachment with these things, but it is not serving you at all. Remember, half of 2025 has already passed. We are now on week 29. 29 is very close to 52. We are on week 29 of 2025. And I know for all of it, it feels as though January was just yesterday. January feels as though it was just yesterday. But spend some time this week unraveling things. Spend some time doing some introspection. Spend the time identifying what no longer serves you. Spend the time identifying what your intentions are for yourself, even though you probably never really paid attention to it. Spend the time identifying where there is fear in your life and why there is fear. What are you fearful of? Do you even know that you have potential? When you look at yourself, are you even aware that you have potential to do better than you are currently doing? Nobody is saying that you have potential to be the best, and then you go into a long overthinking session of your potential, and you're only thinking of your potential by comparing your potential to somebody else. We are not discussing that. Identifying your potential does not mean comparing it to somebody else to then measure yourself against this person. No. This is you versus you. What would you like for your life? What would you like to experience for your life? How are you getting there? What are the next steps? What are you fearful of? Why is that fear part of your experience? I want you to identify. Listen, a lot of times you feel fear, but when you identify the reason for the fear, you sit and you tell yourself, listen, that don't make no sense. A lot of the times you would sit and tell yourself, that does not make any sense. Why was I fearful of that again? So, this is the week to really spend some time with you. Spend some time with you. And I know in terms of moving forward, a lot of times you are hesitant. You are hesitant. You are fearful. But you also have to remember whatever your end goal is and what your intention is. This is about you. This is not about your neighbor. This is not about you being in competition with anybody else. This is about you. What would you like to achieve? What would you like to experience? You probably always wanted to go on a Disney cruise. Why are you fearful of your potential of going there? You probably always wanted to be a manager. Why are you fearful of your potential in terms of getting the position? You probably always wanted to be a Latin dancer. Why are you fearful of making the first step? You always wanted, well, I know for some of us who are in Trinidad, you know about the steel pan, you always wanted to play the steel pan. Why are you fearful of the potential of you doing that? You always wanted to become a teacher to affect change in children. Why are you fearful of your potential in that moment? Because again, if you hold it close to you and you base it off of some one isolated negative experience that happened 28 years ago, the person no longer even remembers your name. They are living in Hawaii. They are sipping on Mai Tais currently as we speak. And they are having lunch with their friends. And you are holding on to this one isolated incident, and they are living the life that you would like to live. How is that serving you? How is it serving you? Spend some time figuring out what you would like to experience. Spend this week. Yes, I'm seeing Nicola. You have your hand raised.
Yes, I just wanted to add in terms of like the letting go process because I understand the difficulty when it comes to letting go. But what helps with the process is, as you were saying before, identifying what your intention is and what you would like to experience. And then as you sit, you would realize that this fear only keeping me back from what I would like to experience. And the more I hold on to the fear, is the less time that I have to experience what I would like
Mhm.
to experience. So holding on to this not really serving me. And it's just sitting down and having that conversation with yourself
Yep.
and making it make sense in our minds. I mean, it
Yes.
always have to make sense, but our mind like to know that something is making sense. So it's
Yes.
kind of like a mind game, but it's just identifying that the more I continue doing this, the longer I continue doing this, whether it's people, places, or things, is the less time I have to enjoy the thing that I truly want to enjoy. The less time I have to enjoy the thing that every morning when I wake up, I see myself experiencing it.
Yes.
So why am I keeping myself and loving yourself enough to decide that I am going to put down this because I am going to enjoy this thing that I want to enjoy whenever the universe decides to bless me with it. All right, because you walk in that way. So it helps with letting go, sitting down and having that conversation with yourself and realizing that this is not serving me because less time I have to enjoy the things that I want to. The more I sit in that space that I don't want to be in, I don't truly want to be in.
Yes. Lily, I'm seeing that you have your hand raised.
Hi, I'm new to the team or to the group. I work with Lisa
Okay.
as a registered nurse. And I agree with all of what you guys are saying today because I actually feared a lot being confrontational, or if I could say it, like going to that person and telling them how I feel about what's going on. And I have learned that as my career has gone by, you have to express what you feel in that moment and make it very clear and transparent that what they said really bothered you, and move on and let it go. And today because I had a previous job manager that was kind of, you could not go to them
Right.
with any issues. So I was holding to all these things and emotions, and it affected me. And today, in this job that I currently hold for about a year now, um, my manager came up to me and she said something that I kind of took it maybe the wrong way, but the way she presented it did not seem the way that I really would like for it to come out. So it made me feel really bad because I was working really hard to catch up so I can help my other team members. And that puts a lot of stress as a nurse. So I decided that after my previous experience with my previous manager, that I was not going to let that experience haunt me and allow me to be like, well, why did she do this? And she should have not said that. And I went down. I took all of my schedules and my notes of everything that I had done. And I actually sat down and let it go with her. And I told her, this is how I felt. And I'm being transparent with you. And honestly, it was just a simple misunderstanding.
Yes.
Um, so it's so true that we can hold on to these things or grudges, and it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt to just say it and just clarify things, but it does hurt your body, because I was just before it was I would not dare go up to tell someone, you know, hurt me, or you said this. So yeah, I really love what you guys are saying. Everything makes so much sense
Yes.
when
Yes.
you do say it. Just say it. Get it out of your chest.
Yes. 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 Yes.
Thank
No,
you.
you are most welcome. Guys, when you look at your life, when you look at life, sometimes the things that you're holding on to, they does not even make sense. They are not even serving you anymore. Sometimes, yes, you might learn something and it was integral and it was required for you in that moment, but it is not required anymore. You need to release it. It's as though you're using a 1995 flip phone, you're trying to use that in 2025. And you're frustrated because this used to work in the past and it's not working anymore, and why it's not working. Sometimes the things that you're holding, not sometimes, all the times, the things that you're holding are now obsolete. They know they would not work for you. They would not work for you. It's like you're trying to put gas in an electric vehicle. That is why it is important to identify what you are currently experiencing before you move forward. And in identifying it, I would also like to share this week's schedule with you, because as stated before, whereas we discuss things on a Monday, remember the deep dive is really the Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. That is really where the deep dive is. So can you all see my screen? All right. So on Tuesday, of course, we currently have our B Squad Java Teen Camp happening. And tomorrow from 6 to 7 p.m., we have the hidden cost of playing small. So while we discuss overcoming the fear of your potential, tomorrow we will be discussing the difference between comfort and alignment, because a lot of times functioning from where you are, you're not even aware of how it is affecting and how it costing you in certain areas of your life. You're not even aware. And remember, you would tend to say, well, I would just stay here because I'm comfortable, not realizing this is costing you. Sometimes you're not even aware of what or how huge the cost is until it affects something else in your life, you know? And then on Wednesday from 10, we have the B Squad Java Camp again. And in the evening, we will be discussing moving from self doubt to self trust. So, if this is something that you are interested in, and even after tonight's discussion, you might still have a few questions, you could write down your questions and you could um, join us on Wednesday to discuss moving from self doubt to self trust, cultivating the evidence of your own capacity. Thursday, we have the teen camp again. And from 6 p.m., we have your full potential is your legacy. So even ask yourself in self reflection, what legacy are you creating? And we would be discussing anchoring potential in service, meaning, and vision. And of course, from 7, I didn't even mention that on Tuesday, we have the fuel and flex full body workout. For of course, it is free for premium members. On Friday, we have the B Squad Java Camp again. On Saturday, we have a private workshop on building resilience and moving forward. And if you are interested in premium membership, it is $96 or 15 USD a month. And of course, you have access to all of the classes free of charge, and also the fuel and flex sessions you can either attend in person or you can attend online. So, guys, remember, this is what will be discussed this week to further really drive home overcoming the fear of your potential. Because even stepping into your potential, I know it is a fearful thing for a lot of us. But if it is something that you are interested in, feel free to reach out to us. And the contact number is 868-336-1809. Even if you look online at the same flyer, you would see it right to the bottom here. 868-336-1809. And I would also like to read something for you from the Befitment app. So, of course, this is the app that was also created as the port for um, all persons. So you could always browse through it to also get additional support throughout the week. So it could be under what category? It could be loving yourself, the professional image, anger and control, critical thinking. But for tonight, we would be looking at discipline and motivation. So, of course, the post said, true living begins outside of your comfort zone, never within. How can you attain any desire without clear intention and the motivation to do so? Wherever there is fear, there is also freedom. So there is always a story attached to it, so you could always read it up after. But I would like to read the write up for you, which starts by comfort is the silent killer of potential. It lulls us into a false sense of security, convincing us that safety is synonymous with success. But history and every great achievement proves otherwise. True living does not exist within the confines of safe and familiar. It thrives in the unknown, in the spaces where fear and freedom collide. We all have dreams built on visions of who we could be, what we could achieve, the lives we could lead. Okay, I just had to. But desire alone is worthless. Without clear intention and relentless motivation, aspirations remain just that, fleeting thoughts, unrealized fantasies. The difference between those who succeed and those who merely dream is not talent or luck, but the willingness to step into discomfort. Ask yourself, what have I avoided out of fear? That very thing, the challenge that makes your pulse quicken and the risk that keeps you up at night is where your growth lies. Every great innovator, leader, and pioneer faced uncertainty. What set them apart was their refusal to let fear dictate their choices. Wherever there is fear, there is also opportunity. The anxiety you feel before taking a leap is not a warning, it's a signal. It means you're on the edge of something meaningful. The fear of failure, rejection, or discomfort is not a barrier, it is the doorway to liberation. Freedom is not the absence of fear, it is the mastery of it. So, even for this week, remember that freedom is not the absence of fear, it is the mastery of it. And if you would like to read up more, please feel free to check out for all who are here, the same Befitment app that you downloaded to join, check out the different categories. And if you are interested in the sessions this week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, feel free to reach out to us where will continue our discussion on overcoming the fear of your potential. And also, as part of tonight's session, we have the Genius Goals and the Genius Goals question, where you answer a question every week and you get the opportunity to win tickets to St. Vincent and the Grenadines at the end of the year. So, if it is something that you are interested in, log on, answer the question. All you have to do is answer the question. That is all you have to do. Just answer the question. And then at the end of the year, the person who is in the lead, they will win the tickets. Also, if you want to get additional points, you could answer. I know there is a question where you have to find the quote from the app and also by inviting people to join as well. So, are you all ready to take down the Genius Goals question for this week?
Could you just specify with the genius goal questions or the answers rather? There's no wrong answer. It's
Yeah,
on your
yes,
personal
yes.
feeling and your where whatever and however you feel based on the question.
You see, Genius Goals is really the opportunity for you to practice being better. Eh? That is really what Genius Goals is. So even after we come on and we discuss, is your opportunity to ask, to answer the question. And it is really personal because remember, you're answering the question based on you. And you're answering the question based on what you would do to achieve this. And even in last week's question, in terms of creating a list of things that you could choose to ensure that you always celebrate, because a lot of times when you think of celebration, your mind goes blank. But you're thinking it always needs to be something grand, but really it doesn't. So, the genius goals, and answering the question is really your opportunity to practice the tools that you have been learning Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. That is really what it is. Because yes, you might say things, you might understand things, but you see, once you answer the question, you really internalize it. You make it personable to you. And then you have your blueprint in terms of how to move forward. And you have your blueprint in terms of this is the next step for me, this is what is required. Because you would always make it personal to you. So, really, that is what Genius Goals is, your opportunity to put the tools into practice. And imagine for doing that, you're winning a trip. So, for tonight's question, all right, let me just read it for you. After identifying what my current fears are, just a minute, sir. Okay. All right. So for the Genius Goals question, first you would start with self introspection for this week because that is very important before moving forward. So the question starts with after self reflection and identifying that my current fears are, and you are to list what they are because you need to really identify it before knowing how to move forward. So that is why the question is labeled like that. Remember, nobody else is seeing your answers. It goes into the system, so do not worry. Feel free to be very honest. So after self-reflection this week, do some self-reflection first before answering the question. Or also answer the question again after attending Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Then you would have a better grasp of what is being asked. So after self-reflection, I identify that my current fears are, and you would list them. And then knowing what I know now, I would move forward in the following ways. So, first, you are identifying what your fears are. And once you discover what they are, then you would know, okay, I know how to navigate better now because I have identified it. And sometimes when you identify the fear, as I said, also you realize it's not even real, it's not even there, it doesn't really have any backing. when you look at the fear. So identify it, spend some time with yourself first. And for those who are interested in premium membership, feel free to reach out to us because it is very, very, very important. And again, walk with your questions during the week. Based on whatever the topic is, walk with your questions as well. So that you would ensure that you really have the clarity that you require before you move forward. So this week is really about moving past your fears and discovering your potential and maintaining it. Because a lot of times you might have potential today, you have the motivation today, you have the discipline today, and then tomorrow you are unable to maintain it. So, guys, I would like to say thank you, thank you, thank you for logging on. See you all next week, same place, same time, and spend some time with yourself this week. Spend some time with yourself. Do some self reflection. See what is coming to you. All right. So, have a wonderful, wonderful night. Have a wonderful week, and see you all here on Monday. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Night.
Good night.